Have you ever found yourself giving and giving, only to realize that some people never truly appreciate it? As we get older, we tend to become more generous with our time, advice, and even money, wanting to help those around us. But the hard truth is that not everyone deserves your kindness. Some people will drain your energy, take advantage of your generosity, and leave you with nothing in return. In this video, we're going to talk about 4 types of people you should never help in your old age. These are the individuals who will use your goodwill against you, making you feel obligated, guilty, or even financially strained. The worst part? They often disguise their intentions so well that you may not even realize it until it's too late. If you want to protect your peace of mind, financial security, and emotional well-being, you need to know who to avoid helping, no matter how much they beg, plead, or try to convince you otherwise. Stay tuned until the end, because these 4 types might just change the way you see certain people in your life. Knowing how to handle them can save you from years of stress and regret. Now, let's get started. Number 1. The chronic taker. Some people in life have a habit of always taking but never giving back. They come to you when they need something, whether it's money, time, or favors. But the moment you need support, they're nowhere to be found. These are the chronic takers, and if you're not careful, they'll drain you of your resources without a second thought. At first, they may seem like they genuinely appreciate your help. They thank you, they act grateful, and they promise they'll repay the favor someday. But time passes, and you start to notice a pattern. They never offer to help you in return. They never check in on you unless they need something. And when they do reach out, it's always about what you can do for them, not the other way around. One of the biggest mistakes older adults make is assuming that helping someone repeatedly will eventually change them. You might think, if I just give them one more chance, maybe they'll finally get back on their feet. But chronic takers don't operate that way. They see kindness as a weakness to exploit, not as something to appreciate. Take Joe, a 72-year-old retired carpenter. His younger cousin, who had always struggled with money, frequently came to him for loans. Every time the cousin had an excuse. He lost his job, his car broke down, he had unexpected bills. Joe, being generous, kept helping, thinking he was doing the right thing. But years passed, and nothing changed. The cousin still made poor financial decisions, still borrowed money, and still never repaid a dime. Joe finally realized that his generosity wasn't helping. It was enabling. The chronic taker does not learn responsibility because they don't have to. As long as someone like you keeps bailing them out, they'll never change their behavior. They rely on the kindness of people who don't know how to say no, and when the well runs dry, they'll simply move on to the next person who will give them what they want. If you recognize someone like this in your life, it's time to stop giving. You don't need to be rude, and you don't need to explain yourself. A simple, "I'm not in a position to help right now," is all it takes. You don't owe them anything, not after years of one-sided generosity. The sooner you set boundaries, the sooner you can protect your own well-being and ensure that your kindness is directed toward people who actually deserve it. Number 2, the emotional manipulator. There are people in life who never ask for help directly, but instead make you feel guilty until you offer it yourself. They know exactly how to push your buttons, using guilt, pity, or even anger to make you feel like you owe them something. These people are emotional manipulators, and if you're not careful, they can make you feel responsible for their happiness, their struggles, and even their failures. You might recognize them by the way they frame every conversation around their suffering. They don't say, "Can you help me?" Instead, they sigh heavily and say, "I don't know what I'm going to do," waiting for you to step in and offer a solution. They drop hints about their problems, act as if they're overwhelmed, and make you feel selfish if you don't step in. And if you do try to say no, they suddenly turn cold, act disappointed, or even lash out because, to them, your boundaries are nothing more than obstacles to getting what they want. Emotional manipulators don't just drain your resources, they drain your energy. They make you feel like you can never do enough, no matter how much you sacrifice for them. The more you help, the more they expect. They never acknowledge your struggles, but they make sure you're constantly aware of theirs. And the worst part? They often disguise themselves as friends, family, or even loved ones, making it even harder to see through their tactics. Take Helen, a 68-year-old retired nurse, for example. Her longtime friend Martha had always played the role of the helpless one. Every time something went wrong in Martha's life, a broken appliance, a financial struggle, a family dispute, she turned to Helen, not for advice, but for a solution. Helen felt obligated to help, believing that good friends don't turn their backs on each other. But over time, she noticed something. Whenever Helen needed support, Martha was conveniently too busy, too tired, or simply uninterested. The friendship was completely one-sided, and Helen was exhausted from constantly trying to be the savior. Here's what you need to remember. Genuine relationships are balanced. If someone in your life only reaches out when they need something, but is nowhere to be found when you need them, that's not friendship. That's manipulation. And if they make you feel like a bad person for setting boundaries, that's even more reason to walk away. You are not responsible for fixing everyone's problems. You are allowed to say no. You are allowed to put yourself first, and you do not have to justify your decision to anyone. The people who truly care about you will respect your boundaries, and the ones who don't, they were never really in your corner to begin with. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 2 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Now, let's move forward. Number 3, the reckless spender money can be a sensitive topic, especially when it comes to family and close friends. Many older adults feel a sense of responsibility to help those they care about, especially if a loved one is struggling financially. But there's a difference between helping someone who is going through a tough time and bailing out someone who consistently makes bad financial decisions. If you're not careful, the wrong person can drain your savings and leave you in a vulnerable position, all while continuing their reckless habits. The reckless spender is the person who always seems to be in a financial crisis but never learns from their mistakes. They live beyond their means, rack up debt, and make impulsive purchases. Yet, every time they run out of money, they expect you to step in and fix it. They might tell you it's just this once, but as soon as you help them, they find a way to end up in the same situation again. At first, their requests might seem reasonable. Maybe they ask for help with rent after losing a job. Maybe they say they just need a little support to get back on track. But over time, the pattern becomes clear. Their financial problems are not due to bad luck. They are due to bad decisions. And instead of taking responsibility, they rely on the kindness of people like you to keep them afloat. Take Ron, a 74-year-old retired mechanic, for example. His grandson had always struggled with money, bouncing from job to job and spending whatever he had the moment he got it. Ron wanted to help, so when his grandson asked for money to cover bills, he gave it to him, thinking it would help him get back on his feet. But months passed, and nothing changed. The requests kept coming, sometimes for rent, sometimes for car repairs, sometimes for emergencies that sounded suspiciously like poor planning. Eventually, Ron realized that his financial help wasn't solving the problem. It was just allowing his grandson to continue avoiding responsibility. The hard truth is that you cannot save someone from their own financial irresponsibility. No matter how much you give, it will never be enough because the problem isn't a lack of money, it's a lack of discipline. And if you continue to help, you're not just hurting yourself, you're enabling them. Many older adults end up in financial trouble because they prioritize helping others over securing their own future. They give out loans that never get repaid, drain their savings trying to keep loved ones afloat, and put themselves at risk of running out of money in retirement. But here's the reality: no one is going to take care of you if you run out of money. The people you help today will not be the ones paying your bills in the future. If someone in your life refuses to manage their money responsibly, you have every right to say no. You do not owe anyone financial support, no matter how much they guilt you or how desperate they sound. Your first priority should always be protecting your own security because, in the end, the only person responsible for your well being is you. Number 4, the perpetual victim. Some people go through life always blaming others for their problems. No matter what happens, it's never their fault. They always have a reason why things didn't work out, why they can't seem to get ahead, or why they're constantly struggling. These are the perpetual victims, and if you're not careful, they will pull you into their cycle of negativity, draining your energy and emotions in the process. At first, they may seem like they just need a little encouragement or guidance. They talk about how unfair life has been to them, how they were treated poorly by others, or how they've faced one setback after another. You listen, you sympathize, and you offer advice. But soon you start to notice a pattern. No matter what solutions you suggest, they always have an excuse for why it won't work. They're not looking for help. They're looking for validation that their life is unfair and that nothing is ever their fault. Perpetual victims often attract compassionate people who genuinely want to help. They know that if they tell a sad enough story, someone will step in and try to make things better. But no matter how much you help them, nothing ever changes. They always find themselves in the same situation, and instead of taking action, they continue to complain. Over time, you realize that your support isn't making a difference. It's just feeding into their cycle. Take Linda, a 71-year-old retired teacher, for example. She had an old friend, Karen, who was constantly struggling. One month, Karen needed help paying bills. The next, she was complaining about how unfair her boss was. Then, it was how nobody supported her, how people always betrayed her, how she could never catch a break. Linda felt sorry for her, so she offered emotional support, financial help, and even introduced her to job opportunities. But no matter what Linda did, Karen always had a new complaint, a new crisis, and a new excuse. Eventually, Linda realized that Karen wasn't interested in solutions. She was only interested in sympathy. Here's the thing about perpetual victims: they do not want to change. If they did, they would take responsibility for their actions and start making different choices. But instead, they cling to their problems because being a victim gives them attention, excuses, and an easy way out. And the more you support them, the more they depend on you to keep their story alive. Helping someone who refuses to help themselves is exhausting. It drains your emotional energy, leaves you frustrated, and makes you feel like you're carrying their problems on your back. And the worst part? They will never truly appreciate your efforts because, in their mind, nothing you do will ever be enough. If you have a perpetual victim in your life, the best thing you can do is step back. Stop trying to fix their problems. Stop giving them endless sympathy, and stop allowing their negativity to affect your peace of mind. You are not responsible for saving someone who refuses to save themselves. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 4 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Now, let's move forward. Final thoughts. As we wrap up this video, take a moment to think about the four types of people we've discussed. Have you encountered any of them in your own life? Maybe you've felt drained by someone who constantly takes without giving back. Or perhaps you've been manipulated into feeling guilty for setting boundaries. If any of these situations sound familiar, it's time to protect your well being and stop giving your time, energy, and resources to those who don't deserve it. Aging should be a time of peace, not stress. You've worked hard, built a life, and learned valuable lessons along the way. Now is not the time to let chronic takers, emotional manipulators, reckless spenders, or perpetual victims rob you of the happiness and security you deserve. The key to a fulfilling old age is choosing where to invest your kindness wisely. Helping others isn't a bad thing, it's a sign of a good heart. But not everyone is worthy of your generosity. You are not obligated to fix other people's mistakes. You are not responsible for saving someone who refuses to save themselves. And you do not owe your time or resources to those who only take and never give back. From this point forward, make a commitment to put yourself first. Surround yourself with people who appreciate you, respect your boundaries, and add value to your life. Your time is precious. Spend it wisely. Thank you for joining us today. We'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment below and share one thing you learned today and how you plan to use it in your life. Your thoughts are important to us, so don't hesitate to share them. Reading your comments gives us great motivation and encouragement. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, please like, subscribe, and share. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Thanks for watching, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video.